Namaskaram, my dear friends, I am back again. I had a really good restful weekend because it's longer than normal because of Thanksgiving. And I was able to browse through Netflix and saw a movie that really intrigued me enough to watch it. The movie is called The Two Popes. Yes, it intrigued me because I grew up Catholic and I would never dismiss anything that would talk about anyone's experience and profoundness in divinity. So I hit play. And I was actually very moved by it, touched by it. And I want to talk to y'all, share with y'all my thoughts on the movie, my perspective, I should say. And a lot of the themes somehow is still very in line with yoga, as it is, of course, union with the cosmos. So yes, spoiler alert, I do recommend you all to watch it. So as the movie started, there were a lot of themes that made me smile. One of them was asking for signs. When I was younger, I was also in a phase where I would ask the Lord, God, to give me signs, and I never really knew its purpose. Well, no, I never really knew how to come by it, how to get it. So there were a lot of scenes where Pope Benedict and Pope Francis were talking about the signs that they've received into enabling them to make decisions. And it comes in different forms, it comes in voices, it comes in like situations or events. But I thought the very common theme was that, at least in my perspective, a sign is basically the cosmic intelligence trying to communicate with us human beings. This intelligence plans us to move. So basically it's like my brain telling my arm, move up. That's the sign. There's a scene where it talks about Isaiah 41 chapter 10. Do not be afraid, for I am with you always. Wonderful thing about this quote is that Guru says it too. You know how he said, like, once we've been initiated by him, we've sat with him, like truly be with him, like there's no more privacy. He's always going to be with us. And I think instances where we can't hear him or we can't feel his presence, it's probably because there's just so much barriers, like maybe we're not connected. It's like we're sarin wrapped. And it's very interesting too because Pope Benedict was trying to express how he feels that for a while now he can't feel, he can't experience, he doesn't hear God. So maybe it's time we become conscious that we're actually wrapped in saran wrap and like remove it, right? Right. There's also a scene where the young Pope Francis was trying to give a sermon in a chapel where he was assigned at the mountains. And then he said he couldn't. He said it was like a TV signal. Like when you watch football, you have to have a TV, you have to have an antenna, and the signal has to be great. And what he's saying at that moment, he just can't get the signal. He tries, but he can't get the signal. Oh, and I think he's right too. Sometimes, we may receive the signal really clearly and sometimes not. And I think it's just our responsibility to make sure the antenna, this TV system that receives the signal, is in tip-top shape. Hence the sadhana, right? Signal's going to be there. Maybe strong, maybe not. I really don't know. But the only thing I could really control is to make this body, to make this television system with an antenna to work properly. There's also a scene where they were talking about spiritual pride. And that it's something we all suffer from. And then it goes, we are not God. In God we move and live and have our being. We live in God, but we are not of it. We are only human. And then Pope Benedict pointed up, he said, but there he is. As in God, there he is, human. So then again, my brain goes try and make sense of it. Maybe the intent of that was to make us not take ourselves too seriously. That we're human beings, we're just humans, we're not God worthy, but we are capable of being God. What do I mean by that? As what Sadhguru said, this body is more than capable to reach, experience the ultimate truth. But if we focus more on the power of being God, then we miss the truth, for we only marvel of the power. I think that's what it is really. It's basically to humble us that what the gods get, the praises, the offerings, is not really meant for us. but we are more than capable to be like God, to be God-like. Oh, and one thing that I really love about the movie is the discussions, the conversations between the two popes, because they're somehow polar opposites in their points of view, in their perspectives. And it's very graceful how both understand their roles in the world and that they don't easily give in because of pressures or what people have to say. But it seems that they pause, think about it, ask for divine intervention to guide them in their decisions. One of the more profound lines from the movie was when Pope Francis told Pope Benedict, "If you do this, like leave the papacy, you will damage the papacy forever." And then Pope Benedict said, "And what damage will I do if I remain?" So now they're in a situation where, okay, they have to think about comparing damages. And then Pope Benedict goes on with, "God corrects a pope by presenting him with a new pope. I'd like to see my correction." Such humility in such a high position. And another part of the movie too that addresses controversy was the confession scene where they were talking about the problems of the church, that it's been swept under the rug, of children suffering because of decisions that were made. I thought that scene was very, very vital as it brings to light existing problems that sometimes is hard to talk about and that something needs to be done, then just ignore it and expect it to go away. Yes, there are things that disappear when we ignore them, but there are also things that never disappear when we take it for granted. And I thought that scene was important because it addresses the issue and that something is going to be done about it. Another thing too about the movie was talking about walls and being disconnected, talking about exclusion and that there's a culture of not being responsible. As Pope Francis was saying in his speech, if nobody is to blame, we are all to blame. We have to feel responsible that even the other side of the world, even if it's that far, but people are hungry, people are suffering. We may not be able to do something about it from the distance, but we have to feel responsible, as Sadhguru says, because this way, it lights up the humanity in us to do what needs to be done when the need arises. And this line too was said twice, Silentio incarnatum, silence incarnate. I brought this up because I tried for 2 days to be silent. But I have to take it chunks of the day at a time. And so far it has been challenging. But despite the challenge, it has been really, really wonderful to experience moments of silence. Not in the things I hear, but in my mind and in my insides. So yes, guys, I recommend this movie. Really, really intriguing. A lot of profound moments. Very, very relatable. And I feel like it gives us hope that as a humanity, we're actually on the right path. We just have to be part of the change. Namaskaram. Until next time, y'all. Bye.